welcome. My name is Richard Bössen. I'm the Senior Manager Digital Reporting at IFRAG, and today we are going to continue our session on tagging an ISRS report. Like in the last session, I'm going to read the disclaimer. It's of course clear that this video is not endorsed and reviewed by the company itself. So the report that I'm tagging, the Maersk report, is just the PDF that I downloaded from their page. I didn't get any allowance or any comment from them. I think they're even not aware that I'm doing this. So it will definitely be incomplete and erroneous in terms of tagging that I am personally going to do. The purpose of this video is to educate the stakeholders and just to illustrate it, and keep in mind that the final tagging rules will need to be adopted by ESMA and the European Commissions. The opinions expressed in this video do not represent the views of the IFRAG Sustainability Reporting Board or Sustainability Reporting Technical Expert Group. We do not recommend any specific process for the preparation of a digital ISRS statement. Manually tagging PDF report is considered to be a bolt-on process which does not take advantage of an integrated built-in reporting process, which means that digital tagging during the report preparation and editing, which is likely to be more efficient for many preparers. So to keep it very short and simple, it means tagging a PDF is not the best and easiest way to actually prepare a digital report. However, it's definitely possible. The software that I'm using here is not anything that IFRAG itself is recommending. You need to use an XBRL software, otherwise you cannot do it. Therefore, I'm just using one. But we are, of course, not recommending any specific software for that purpose. Any software that produces a compliant and valid inline XBRL report can be used. A list of certified reports can be found at software.xbrl.org. Great, so let's continue then. Last time we actually stopped at tagging the SBM3 IROs that the company has identified. I completed tagging the first two. Unfortunately, I had a small issue with the software because it was showing me an error message, which was showing on the other screen, which I couldn't see. Therefore, I needed to stop actually and first find out what is wrong. And now I found out what's the problem. It's quite simple. The problem is that the same tag cannot be used multiple times in the same layer. That's why I added a number of layers now here. I hope 10 will be enough to tag all the remaining IROs. The tagging of the IROs here in this page is actually a quite mechanical task. So I would probably recommend you to now turn up the speed of the video, because it will be quite boring seeing me tagging all the IROs that they have reported here, because it's just repeating the whole process for each and every IRO again. Great, so let's continue with the third IRO. So this is an opportunity, financial opportunity indeed, and we need to be careful to also select the corresponding element here from the XBRL taxonomy. I will hide the technical name here, then we can see the paragraph a bit better. This is paragraph 48A in SBM3. I will just drag and drop. Yeah, now you can see here the problem. So I need to switch to another layer. In this case, I'm going to choose this third layer, and accidentally, I think this will even be the same number of IRO that I have here. So this is actually quite good then. Once again, it's not letting me do that. What is the problem? Here. Again, you can only use the same text box in one layer. Okay, but we changed the layer, didn't we? Let me do that again. The ISRS report from Maersk. Just to let you know, I've now continued tagging the IROs here on this page. Unfortunately, after starting and stopping several times, I now forgot to turn on the recording. So the last 5 IROs, which I actually retagged because I made a mistake in the first try, I have now done without recording. But anyway, I have still a few left, so it shouldn't be a big problem. I have now tagged the fifth IRO here. We have short term, and we also have the information if it's a value chain and so on. So that should be fine. Also here in this layer, no, the IRO identifier is still missing here. So let's put IRO 5. And the type actually also needs to have the type dimension, which is IRO number 5. Great. Next one. Let's check back to the other layer. This is it's both. It's now a negative impact and a financial risk. So in this case, which of the two items we would need to use in our taxonomy? That's actually a great question. And maybe going forward, when revising the XBRL taxonomy, it would be good maybe to merge those two items, because I think it's, even if it's separated in the standard itself, it would make sense to just have a generic description of both and do not make this differentiation, because otherwise now you would need to take both of them, which would be a little bit odd. Nevertheless, that's of course possible using the layers, but yeah, I would now maybe just, yeah, maybe we can even do that. Now it would be even it would be complicated to do so, because you are not allowed to change so I would need to make some tricks with the layers here in order to allow that. Therefore, I'm just going to choose only one of the items now and not do both of them. But in general, I think it's it should be merged in taxonomy. So let's put this one here, and then the time horizon is short term in our case. And here, maybe since it's also an impact, we could fairly reasonably expect that we could also take this item here, which is short term. Yes, okay. And then for the types itself, let's go to the semi-narrative, since this is a enumeration set, which allows to have multiple items selected for the type. I'm going to choose here. This is a financial risk and a negative impact. And once again, it's related to pollution. Good. Next item is this one. So I will switch back to the other layer. Discharge of water to the sea. This is a negative impact. And we are going to tag value chain and on operation. I think equally those two items in the XBRL taxonomy could be merged going forward, because it's actually the same information, just differently for an impact or an opportunity. But in general, I mean, why not having it merged into one? That would be a bit easier for tagging purposes. Expected time horizon, since it's an impact, we can tag. It was a short term. Good. Let's not forget to put the type dimensions. We have not done it here. So this is our 6th IRO. And the next one is a 7. IRO number 6. And IRO number 6. Good. This one is number 7. Let's go to the semi-narrative layer in order to tag the type and the sustainability matter as well for this item. This is an impact, and it is addressing pollution. Good. Finally, another one. We have the type dimension, not to forget, of course. IRO number 7. Wait. Now we have another one, and this is actually not related to pollution, but to ecosystems, health, and biodiversity. It's an impact. We can put short term as well. Let's put the identifier. This is our IRO number 8. IRO 8. IRO number 8. IRO number 8. Switch to the semi-narrative layer. This is an actual impact, negative impact. This is related to ecosystem health and biodiversity. Now you can see we have multiple items here. So I would for sure check the ecosystems from E4. Ecosystem health, but I mean the name is a bit confusing because I think it would be biodiversity and ecosystem and maybe health, right? Which is health and safety. And this is actually related to both value chain and own operations. So I'm going to select both here. So IRO number 8. Good. I think we are done with this one. We can continue with our IRO number 9. So as you can see, we do a very detailed tagging of this table. This is an impact again. This is own operation and value chain. And it's a short term. Let me check if I just selected the, I just selected the wrong tag, of course. Let's put the right one here. I choose the one for opportunities. It would be this one, actually. And here as well. Oh yeah, here as well. So let's replace it. Oh, okay. This is our IRO number 9. 9. 9. Oh, this is IRO 9 as well. Good. Let's go to the semi-narrative layer. Let's add that this is an impact, negative impact. And we do have sustainability matters addressed, which were biodiversity and health and safety. Good. Next item is before, let's just put the type dimension, IRO number 9. IRO number 9. Yes, it's already here. This would be IRO number 10. Again, a negative impact. This is short term. Right, let's go to the other layer. Here we wanted to say that this one is actually on Sustainability matters, biodiversity, and health and safety. Okay, let's put the type dimension. IRO number 10. So let's now check one. Sustainability matters, but I didn't tag if it's actually. Let me redo this. I didn't tag if it's a risk and opportunity, if I'm not mistaken. This is a negative impact. Okay. Arrow number 10. Back to our other layer. This is IRO number 10. IRO number 10. This is IRO number 10. Fine. Good. Next item, waste management. Now we have something else. This is actually an impact on operational value chain, short term. Now you realize probably that I'm getting more practice working like a machine. This is, let's take a bit more careful here. This is an actual risk, negative impact related to waste management. I think we only have waste here as sustainability matter, but that's fine. This is the. We have tagged this already, right, in the other layer. So now we can put the type dimension here as well. This is IRO number 11. IRO number 11. IRO number 11. So you might be wondering why I always put the number of the IRO on each and every tag. The reason is pretty simple, because in order for the software or the consumer, whoever you call it, that is going to consume those digital disclosures, to know which of the information is actually grouped together. Because as a human, it's visually quite clear, because you have a line here, right? And here as well, a horizontal line, that this is grouped together, this information. For a computer, it's not so obvious, because we need to tell them that this icon refers to this text, because it's in an unstructured PDF. It's impossible to know that for a machine, or it's probably not impossible, very hard. It's a very hard problem, and therefore it needs to be done like this. Good. We have an impact and financial risk at the same time. Now, again, the question is which of the items actually need to use. Let's choose this one. The value chain. Let's use this one here for the value chain. And let's put short-term time horizon from the impact side. Fine, let's put the type dimensions here. This is IRO 12. This is IRO 12 as well. And here we have IRO 12 as well. Right, let's check in the semi-narrative. This is related to responsible ship recycling. That's an interesting sustainability matter. I think ship recycling is not something that is provided in the ESRS. However, we have something on waste and recycling, so it's related to biodiversity, I guess. Yeah, let's probably check one of this one, and pollution potentially as well, right? If it's related to a number of environmental topics. So I would select pollution, other pollution subtopic, and also biodiversity, ecosystem, other, because it's not really related. Maybe let's see if we can also find something related to waste. I mean, we could check the waste and potentially even water, right? I don't know if ships will actually end up in the water if not decommissioned correctly, but this is just now actually interpretation. So maybe just to choose other water and resource subtopic. Yeah, it would require a further discussion with the authors of the report in order to tag it properly. What we can definitely say is that this is an impact and a financial risk. Negative impact and risk. Okay, fine. Let's don't forget the type dimension. Let's check if we have it in the other one. Yes. I think this was item number 11, if I'm not mistaken, or no, 12 already. So fine. Next item is sourcing of critical resources. This is an impact. It originates from the value chain only. It's related to the value chain only. We have short-term as an item here. Expected time horizon is short-term. Great, and this is our IRO number 13. 13. Oh, IRO 13. And IRO number 13. Keep in mind, it does not really matter what I type in as a type dimension. It's just a technical ID differentiating it from the other ones, but it's not really human readable, and it's not really important to select the right to put a human readable name here. This is true for all the type dimensions. So let's put the sustainability matter. Resources. I know that we have resource use and circular economy. Might be related to this, and potentially related to resources inflow, because it's about procurement. Yeah, I think that's fine. And this one is about an impact. Negative impact. IRO 13. IRO. We nearly made it. The last IRO. And an impact related to value chain. And it's a short-term. Fine. Okay. Let's put the type dimension. IRO 14. IRO 14. And IRO 14. Okay, this is again related to sourcing, resource use, so maybe resource inflow, like we have selected before. And it's indeed an impact. Great, so we have fully tagged this page, and it took actually quite a while because we have made a thorough job on tagging each and every aspect. Let me check if I put the type dimension. No, I have not yet. Let's not forget that. Here, this is IRO 14. Or am I? No, that was a wrong. Sorry, that was a wrong. Now I put it on all the. That was not my intention. This was the level 1 tag actually. Disclosure of material risk, and yeah, so let's delete it here. That was a mistake. Okay, let's check the level 1. Here it needs to be. Yes, that looks good. Fine. And here as well. Oh, here I forgot it. This is IRO number 14. And IRO number 14 as well. Okay, good. Let's check the next page. Here we have the climate change chapter actually starting the disclosures on climate change E1. However, as you remember, we stopped last time at page 66 because this is where we realized that the actual IROs are being disclosed in the topical standard for the environmental topics. So therefore, we did stop here. I would propose that we continue now with page 67 because this is what makes most sense to just, make sure we are not missing any page. Page 67 is also related to the double materiality assessment, so to IRO SBM3 in this case. So I would just recommend that we take the whole page with the corresponding text block tag or level 1 tag here as well. And this is actually a continuation. So we are continuing the disclosure from the page before. Good. Page 68, according to the index, is related to IRO 1, to the methodology used in this by Maersk in order to do the materiality assessment. So we are going to put the level 1 text only, I guess. We could check if we could maybe do it a little bit more fine grain here, but unfortunately they didn't provide the information, the reference to each paragraph separately here. So we will definitely put the level 1 tag. We could even put more. Let's maybe do a quick assessment. So this is about time horizons. Do we see a specific tag here? This is about the engagement with external stakeholders, which could be this one here. Oh, that's a bit too broad. Change. Identification and assessment of material impacts. I'm quite sure there must be maybe this one, right? It's about methodologies or that have or may have a financial effect. So this is limiting to financial effects, though I would not choose this one. Impacts, this is an impact. So I would say this is maybe not a bad choice. And maybe this one then for the other, the opportunities, risk and opportunities, time horizons. That's a bit more tricky because I don't think we have anything time horizon specific in IRO 1. Let's do a check. No, it doesn't seem so. So let's not map those two items because also in relation to the value change, No, I don't think any specific data point is here. In theory, it would of course be possible to check if we have if we could have an entity-specific item here for those two chapters. Yeah, so that would look like this. Then I go to other material risk and opportunities and put this item here. And the identifier would be then, yeah, it's general, right? There is no specific item. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be tagged like this. Maybe in going forward, Maersk could provide more details on what this is about. Okay, page 69. Page 69, according to the index, I don't see in the index, which I have printed by the way, just right next to me here, any specific disclosure requirement. Approach to due diligence, but due diligence, I'm quite sure we do have in ESRS as well. It is, where is our due diligence? Statement of due diligence, it's a GOV4, right? I'm not so sure if it's actually the same thing, because right now they only say it's ESRS 2. But why not? Since the headline is due diligence, we could easily put this item. Let's maybe start here. Let's continue. Indeed, this is, by the way, I'm just checking, I was wrong. This is indeed SBM1, double materiality assessment value chain mapping. So let's check this one, SBM1. Description of business model and value chain. So it could even be this item as well. So let's take it as well, just to be sure that we are not missing anything. Putting a tag is not so much effort, as you can see. Oops. If you manage to put your mouse cursor. Yes, and let's continue it here. Yeah. Why not? Let me check if the page is mentioned in any other. Double materiality. It's IRO 1 according to this index as well. And IRO 2 as well, double materiality assessment. So we could put a number of, so maybe the due diligence item was not exactly precisely what we wanted to do. So what we could do is check IRO 1 and IRO 2 again, or at least put the level 1 tag on it as well. Yeah, let's put those two tags here as well. So first I'm choosing the very generic one. I know the tool is probably complaining again. Yes, you can only in one layer has been tagged on layer level 1 plus. So we need to switch to this layer 1 plus. So did we tag it here as well? Yeah, this is now a bit unfortunate, right? Because now we have tagged another item here. It's the due diligence item. So maybe we just remove it because it's also not really mapped in the index, and rather choose the one from IRO 1 here. I think that makes more sense. Level 1 plus. Are we not in level 1 plus? No, in this layer actually. Level 1 plus. This is the right one. Yes, continue. Yes, continue. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, but it mentions also IRO 2, which I have a little bit of difficulties to understand why it's mentioned in page 68. Because ISRS 2 IRO 2 is about the list of DRs compiled with, maybe it's related to the location of sustainability statements compiled with information. So this is of course very generic, right? Because it's this tag actually doesn't make a lot of sense if I think about it a bit more careful. The topics are also not really mentioned here. That's also weird. Yeah, let's keep it like this then. I think it's properly tagged with the tags that we have selected, and maybe let's keep it like this. The next item is on stakeholder engagement, and again, very helpful for maths that provided the information on which topics this is about. It's page number 70, and according to the index, it is related to E2 IRO 1, stakeholder engagement, but I know that we also have something on stakeholder engagement in ISRS 2 in pure maybe interested views. Oh, it's not actually. Is it about the views? Stakeholder expectations of mass, key engagement channels, how stakeholder input is used. Yeah, I think that's it, huh? Yeah, I think that would be quite fitting quite nicely. So let's put it on the whole page. Fine, and let's continue to the next one. You might be able to take it a little bit more fine grain, but I think it's already good when we do it like this. Yes, I'd like to continue. What you could, for instance, do is, since, for instance, this topic here, this chapter is on engagement with customers, right? If they break it down actually to certain stakeholder groups, then you could put, for instance, the consumers and end users here, right? So it would work like this. Do we want to continue? No. And then we would say this is only for consumers and end users. We put the dimension on it. It's one of the options that you have to make it a bit more fine-grained. But it's not necessarily needed if it's not clearly possible. Because, for instance, here, political engagement and responsible lobbying does not really reflect what we have in the XBRL taxonomy. So in this case, it would be entity-specific stakeholder group. And therefore, I'm just choosing the very generic one. Yes. Please select the one we want to continue. Yes, okay, why not? Now it actually got the dimension as well, which is not correct. Yeah. So I would rather delete this one again and make it a separate one. So let's do it again so that we continued from the long run. Yes, now it looks better, right? This is on consumers and end users, so it should be. Let's put the tag again. And the other one is without any dimension. Yeah, that works quite well. Good, 73. This is continued here, right? Continued from customers. Yes, this one, please. Citizenship. It's a good question. What is citizenship? Is this reflected here? Maybe affected communities could be a suitable one, or we just continue the very generic one, which is maybe not a bad idea. Grievance and remedy. This could also be related to another governance-related disclosure. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we can check later. Let me quickly check in the index if I can see anything here. Yes, indeed. But this is, oh, sorry, I'm confused. The page, just page 73. Yeah, it's indeed political influence and lobbying activities, the one that we had before. This is actually something that is mentioned in the governmental governance topical standard. So we could then later also put the governance item here as well. But in terms of stakeholder engagement, it's definitely something that we can easily take with this one, and fine as well. I can see that they have a disclosure on whistleblower reports here as well. This is also a dedicated disclosure of the governmental standards, but since we wanted to mainly take IROs 2 and the environmental topics here, I would now skip it, and then later when we look at the governmental section, maybe come back here and try to take something from this page. Good. Page 75 seems to be mainly like a table of content. So let's go to page 76. It's the environmental targets. And here we have targets disclosed for 2030 climate change and also ongoing ambitions in relation to environment and ecosystems. I'm not going to tag it here because I assume that those items are just also provided in the report in a more detailed fashion in some of the pages that are to follow. It seems to be more like an index or overview of the targets as well. So let's skip this page. Page number 77, the famous one which we already tagged was SBM3 or the different IROs. So we can go to climate change now. And this is chapter is IROs E1 and S3. Let's check in the index what specific disclosure requirement they have here. This is related to policies and actions. So this seems also to be a little bit like a headline, yeah. But nevertheless, we can take it as well. So when we go to E1.1, E1.2 policies, let's put this item here, level 1 again. And we have a climate transition plan as well, which is interesting. So E1 1 is actually the climate transition plan, and it is on page number 79. Unfortunately, this climate transition plan is only expressed in terms of a diagram, which is, I think, not so easy to tag because it's more, it means, I guess, to have it like a picture or something, right? But it's quite similar also to what the IROs itself has in the application requirements in terms of transitioning with decarbonization levels. So maybe it's not a bad thing. So let's put the transition plan item here. We do not need to put any topical access here. This is fine. We can see if we can find any more of the items. Here they have actually disclosed a number of targets, science-based targets. Yes, this is the disclosure of the decarbonization levers, energy shifts. Let's check if we find those values again. Otherwise, we would need to go back and tag them with the MDR target-related items. Climate transition plan. Yeah, here it continues. So I would just recommend that we continue with the transition plan here. Is this related to 1.5 degree? Yes, I think it is. So that would be the one, works fine. They have an incorporating social impacts into transition plan. This is interesting because it might mean that we also need to put some items related to social on this table, but maybe we can do that later as well. Building transition plan into business strategy and financial planning. This could be related to explanation of any objective or plans in relation to CapEx, OpEx. Could be tagged here as well, I guess. EU taxonomy reporting. We will skip this one because it's not actually, it doesn't make sense to tag it here. There is a separate XBRL taxonomy that is can be used for tagging the Article 8 disclosures, which are also being available here. But it wouldn't make sense to put this here. Very slim EU taxonomy reporting. I'm not sure if this is full reporting or if there's even more. Good, we are on page 83. By the way, looking at the index, I just realized that page 81 and 82 are also supposed to cover the E18 internal carbon pricing. So in this regard, maybe we put this level 1 tag here as well. Maybe it's just this chapter, right? So maybe we just limit it to this one, which I think is because here it mentions internal pricing and CapEx, OpEx. So let's put this one here. Okay. And let's continue with page 83 then. It's about the decarbonization. So it could be efficiency-driven decarbonization. It's also not mentioning actually an ESRS-related disclosure. It could be related to the transition plan. Could be related to ESRS 2 SBM 3 as their index indicates. However, we did already tag it very detailed, the SBM 3, so I'm not sure if it actually makes sense to do that as well. I think it's rather policies, actions, and targets, as we have seen before. And by the way, their targets that they have disclosed here are also mentioned only for page 79. Let me check the E16 disclosures. They are on 89 to 100. If we do have the targets again, yes, we do have the targets here as well. So there's no need actually to tag them in the first place. However, we could of course put the targets, also the generic tag here, level 1 tag, disclosure of climate-related targets, to the pages here as well. Page 79 would not be a bad idea, I think. Especially this section on the left. Yes, in terms of page 83, it's a bit hard to actually now find a corresponding item because it's related to so many different things at the same time. So this is about decarbonization. I would actually tend to also take the climate-related targets here because it is in fact related to those decarbonization mechanisms. Yeah, that sounds to me is the most reasonable selection. So this page 88 is actually a bit different because this is on physical climate risk exposure, and the physical climate risks are also part of a dedicated disclosure requirement here. Like in E19. So I think this would be the right choice for this item, and it's not so much about policies, action, and targets. It is as well potentially, but it's not the primary disclosure requirement addressed here on this page. This is interesting because they have provided some numerical values. Estimated total annual revenue loss and asset damage in 2050, 49.9 million. Let's check if we can tag one of those items. It says percentage as at material physical risk. Net revenue at material physical risk. I think that would be the one that would fit most. First time we take an actual number, if I'm not mistaken. Here we need to make sure that this is, because right now it's 49 euro, right? So, but this is million. We need to make sure that we, of course, check the scaling, which is 6. In this case, it's fine. So it's multiplied by million. But it's, of course, not an individual number for the whole company. It's for a certain number, for a certain entity, if I understand correctly, right? So they don't provide a total here. So this is one problem which could be addressed by the XBRL taxonomy, which would allow having oh no, it is actually, what we can do is we can disaggregate by site, because this is indeed a site location. So I'm going to have this one here. And the site in this case would be the APM terminals, right? No, it's actually Rotterdam is a site, I think. Okay, and then yeah, okay. It wants to have abstract tagging as well, which is fine. Which we can provide easily here. It's not really needed because it's not we are not creating any presentation link base. Oops, but nevertheless, the software wants it, so we do it. So this would be then again million. Let's check. Scale is 6, fine. We put the abstract item here. And we can put the significant site type dimension. And this is actually LA. And then we have also New Jersey. New Jersey. Yeah, okay, we put an abstract element on that, even if it's not really needed. Again, we have net revenue. And we put for this Suez Canal site location. Suez Canal type dimension, and it would like to have the abstract item as well. Good. And the last item about the revenue loss. And by the way, those numbers are US dollar. We need to be careful because it's not Danish, the Danish currency. It's US dollar. So let me quickly change that as well. Good that I just noticed. this is your done. Okay. And the abstract item as well. Because most of the other numbers in this report are actually provided in Danish currency, but in this case it's US dollar, so we better make sure to choose US dollar here. US dollar, fine. Maybe we can do that even here. Page 88. In a multi-selection drop-down, then we don't need to change that for all individually. US dollar. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it. It still leaves us with a question: what do we tag on 83 to 87? In order to just proceed now, I would just put the E14 climate change targets, even if it's not 100% correct or not complete. Actually, I think it's correct, but it's not very fine-grained selection. But I think it's an explanation of their decarbonization levels, and in that sense, it makes sense to actually tag it, right? Okay. Yes. We would like to continue the tag before. This is actually an interesting picture here, which I think is not really possible to digitize it. It will, of course, be part of the underlying inline XBRL text tag if you put something around it. But since it's very visual, I think it's not doesn't make sense to tag it separately. Anyway, the resulting report will be an inline XBRL report, which means it's human readable and machine readable at the same time. So any user that would open the inline XBRL document in a browser, in a web browser, would automatically see the images, of course, on that page again. I'm not quite happy with the textbook tag selection here. Let me try to fix that. Otherwise, we need to split it. No, it works. Yes, we would like to continue. Targets, yes. Fine. Let's go to page number 89. This is about the E16 greenhouse gas emissions, and I'm quite happy that we have this one, because now finally it means that we have a table which is sometimes a bit easier to tag. Let's see if this turns out to be true. Yeah, so let's start by defining the table tag itself, setting the table tag for this table. This is about emission data. And in fact, we have two tables here, right? It's not only one, it is actually quite close to the proposal in the ESRS, where you have the retrospective and the milestone and target years in one table. And they even provided the data point numbers here on top, which is also sometimes helpful. Okay, let's have a look. So this table view actually is supposed to provide you a little bit more easy tagging mechanisms. For instance, you can select multiple items at the same time. And this is possible now. So I know that this is scope 1 emissions. So I just go to scope 1 and put it here. And unfortunately, the tool also tagged those. It's not a problem. So we just tag it like this. We're getting an error message because those items here are not recognized with a different period. So this is 2022, 23, and 24, and the tagging tool did not actually recognize that correctly. But we will fix that at the end. So this is the scope 2 emissions. This is scope, sorry, that was location based. Sorry, let me choose the right one actually. Yes, I choose the right one. This is market based. And then we have scope 3 emissions. Do we? Significant scope 3 emissions. Total gross indirect scope 3. It's 47. This one. And we have then a breakdown of those scope 3 emissions. And at the very end, we have total greenhouse gas emissions, location-based, and we have market-based. Fine. Now, in order to fix the error that we see here, yeah, but since we anyway need to do it at the end for all the sales, so maybe we could just continue here. Here we have scope 3 emissions, but with a breakdown per scope 3 emission type. And I think this is also provided here. Scope 3 emissions greenhouse gas protocol or ISO. Let me check. Purchase goods and services. I think that sounds a little bit like in greenhouse gas protocol. Yes. Number 15 is investments. Sounds good. So those items we can take as well. And now I can show you a trick. So I'm selecting all the scope 3 values here to make the tagging actually more straightforward, more easy. And put this item on it, right? And then now, unfortunately, put a lot more than I wanted, but it's still fine. Also, the empty rows I just remove. Okay, and now I can say this is purchased goods and services. This is capital goods. This is fuel and energy related activities. So you see the tagging of the numbers is quite straightforward. Upstream and downstream transportation, waste generated in operations, business traveling, employee consulting, commuting, upstream leased assets, use of sold products. Oh, this is 11. They don't have the other items, obviously. Downstream leased assets is number 13. 15 is investments. Do we have other? No. Investments, sorry, now I confused something, I think. This is investments. And this one was downstream leased assets, if I'm not mistaken. 757, let's check. 57 is investments, the downstream leased assets is 55. Bit confused. 531, yeah, 531. That's actually downstream leased assets. And this one is investments. Okay, now it's fine. Good, now we can actually fix the date. We go to properties and say this is period start date is 2022 and period end date is 2022. This is 2023. This is 2023 and this was as 2024. 2024 is correct. Okay, now when we validate, we should have some errors disappear. Yes, obviously I forgot this cell here. Let's fix it now. 22, 2, 23, 23 and 24. So now the errors should go away. Looks good. Excellent. Now we can check. So we're fully tagged the emissions as of, right? The retrospective. And by the way, let's remove this one here because this is about the targets. And this is what we are going to do separately. When we look at the targets, it seems that they provided percentages rather than absolute values, which is, I think, in general, it's fine. Let's check if we can take those targets. So those are the two values, 35 and 69 for 2030 and 2040. So we go to E14, even if it's the same item, that's fine, that's not a problem. But we cannot use now the item that we used to tag because it's a percentage, right? It's a different data type. Therefore, we need to first of all disable that the tagger is the tagging software is actually doing the same tagging for all the cells in the row. Instead, we want to have an individual row being tagged. And we will see if we find the corresponding item in E14. This is about absolute values again. Percentage of target. This is not the right one. It is the total percentage of total greenhouse gas emission reduction as of emissions of base year. That is at least my understanding. We can look at the text again, maybe. They are going to reduce the scope 1 emissions by 35% in 2030 and even to 96% in 2040, which results in 4% decrease over every year. So that means this is the right item here, right? So I'm going to put the percentage here. This is 35%. Oh, sorry, that's not total greenhouse gas emissions, of course. That's wrong. We need to choose scope 1 emissions. Scope 1, and this is also scope 1. The respective date here is 2040. Oh, it's 2030, sorry, it was correct already. The software detected it correctly. I just did it not. Yeah, it looks good already. This S1 and S2, I'm not so sure what it is supposed to mean. Let me check in the review S1 and S2. Yeah, it's not so easy to actually understand what the S1 and the S2 actually means. So I will not tag it. It's safe. That's it doesn't make sense. But 96, maybe it's a limitation of to whom this target applies, right? But for me, it's actually not that easy to know this right now at this stage. So I just take what I know, and I know that this is the percentage of scope 1 emission reduction in total gas emission reduction as per base year, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check the name. This was location based, and it's indeed true. And here we have market based. We don't have a total greenhouse gas emission target, which is fine. Last but not least, we should check if we have any, the 13% here, the annual change in the target year is not really needed in order to be tagged. In theory, one could do that, but it's a bit confusing because this is easily to be calculated by any software anyway. So I would actually vote to not not tag this one at all, because it's just it's not needed, right? As soon as the data is available in the database, everybody is able to calculate the target and your target percentage change automatically. Yeah, the only thing that is left to check is this is 1,000 tons of CO2 equivalents. When we go back to the actual table here, we can check, at least for those items which are not percentage, we can check if this is CO2 equivalents, but the scaling is 0, which is wrong. So in case of 1,000, it should be 3, which makes more sense. We still see an error here. Let's check why it is showing a validation error. Inconsistent duplicate found. Something is missing here, so the tagging seems to be not correct. This is downstream. It is also downstream. That doesn't make sense. Huh? This is 12. It should be 12. Yeah, let me fix that. Okay. When we validate, the error disappears, and we have again a valid document, which is good. Great. So we can, of course, now take also some of the narratives on this page. It says accounting policies, scope of consolidation, and if I'm not mistaken, we had something similar. So we could actually take this one, or just a very generic one, disclosure of methodology, significant assumptions and emission factors. That would probably make more sense because it's a bit more generic. That's what I'm choosing here. Maybe this one even as well. Yes, continue. Maybe we could put this one as a level 1 tag, not to forget it. Looks good. Let's check the page number 90. This is the significant scope 3 emissions here, which is maybe one of the items below here. Scope 3 emission categories included. Value changes as you converted to some. There's also mentioned some gas types, which is possible to tag as well. We have a bunch of other XBRL elements available here. I think this is especially related to the value chain, right? Here's the formula, how they have calculated it, right? That makes sense. Not sure if it really needs to be tagged, but nevertheless. So I would just now, there is a percentage of scope 1 emissions from regulated emission trading schemes. Did we have that one in the table before? Did I miss it? Maybe let's check. Indeed, the 16% here. Yeah. Oh, good that we spot this one. 16%. This is this number. And since it's a percentage, I don't think we need to change anything. That's fine. Very good that we found that. Let's now also put the similar tag on the assumptions and on those narrative disclosures here. You might be able to take it a bit more fine grain, but I think it's fine for the moment. Yes, we're going to continue. Good. Progress towards Maersk 2030 and 40. This is interesting because now they break actually the emissions down, how they actually do it. If I'm not mistaken, either into, yes, I think absolute reduction in terms of decarbonization levers, right? So, but by the way, going back, I think there was one important thing that we forgot to do. Those are milestone and target members here. We should not forget to put this item here. Even if it's not a total error to not put it, it's better because then the analyst can actually understand that this is a milestone and target item. And now the tagging software is stupid and put in this one on all the cells which I haven't tagged as well, which is fine. So now like this, it should be okay. Good. Yeah. I think we could continue then with page 91 on the targets. But I need a break, and I will continue in one of the next sessions. Thank you very much for watching.